And now let's really get into what do I mean when I say the second shift. You may have heard of this term before in reference to a work shift, but whenever I'm working with parents or when I'm talking about parenting, for me, the second shift means that time period after a work day and before you go to bed, where maybe you're coming home from work, or if you're working from home, you finish your work day and then it is time to be with your family. So for you, that might look like going to pick up your kids from school and then doing some family time, having dinner. Or if you were a stay at home parent, that means maybe you in your workday and then join the family there. Whatever it might mean for you, it is that period of time where it follows your workday and then moves into family time. This time frame generally might be between 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., 4 to 7 p.m. But regardless, it always is indicative of that time following a work day and then before bedtime. So let's talk about this. Why is this time so challenging? Let's talk about some of the challenges. For one, during the second shift, there can feel like there's a lack of time. Many times throughout the second shift, it can feel like there's not enough time to get everything done. Many times in the second shift, you might be needing to cook dinner. Maybe you need to clean up from the day. Maybe you need to pack lunches for the rest of the day or the rest of the week. Maybe there's still some more work for you to finish. But then you also still want to be able to connect with your family. How do you get all of that done in a 3 to 4 hour time period? It can feel like there's a lack of time, which can be really stressful. Another challenge in the second shift is that lack of energy. For working parents, many of us go to work during the day and then we come home to our families in the evening time. But I don't know about you, after a work day, sometimes I am physically and mentally exhausted. And depending on how strenuous your day might be, you may experience this lack of energy, lack of motivation. You might even feel some frustration and some irritation because what you really might want to do is just go home, relax, enjoy some time to yourself. However, there are so many other demands and responsibilities waiting for you when you get home. I often have parents with this challenge specifically talk about some grief and loss related to becoming a parent. For many of us, prior to becoming a parent, we had an abundance of time where we were able to just get off of work, come home, get a drink, get a snack, relax, watch some TV, spend some time with friends, enjoy a meal. But when you become a parent, that really shifts, and the evening time really becomes centered around family time, caring for your children, but then also preparing for the next day. And that can feel exhausting. Okay, what's another challenge that comes with the second shift? Sometimes it can feel like there's a lack of support, especially if you're already exhausted, especially if you're already tired. Let's talk about people who maybe have larger families or there are not enough adults or enough caretakers in the family to really care for all the needs. And so, if you're experiencing that, it can absolutely feel like the demands, the responsibilities, the challenges that come in the second shift, there's not enough hands, there's not enough caretakers to really make sure that everything is handled. And that can be really, really frustrating as well. Lastly, during the second shift, many of the parents that I work with experience overstimulation, overwhelm, which can be very irritating, can be very frustrating. And there are signs and symptoms for that too, which we will talk about in another part. What are some of the implications of the second shift? Well, often when I think of the second shift, it helps me to realize that for many people, there feels like an unequal burden. And this is something that I think disproportionately occurs for women or individuals who care for more of the responsibilities. It might be that that person may work a full workday, but then at home, feel as if they have a lot more responsibilities and demands than their partner. And that can also cause some stress or tension in the parenting relationship, the co parent relationship, the partnership. And that's not something that we want, but it happens often. It can also feel like your work life balance is disrupted because let's be honest, parenting sometimes can feel like work. And for many of you, I don't know if you've had this experience, but sometimes parenting feels like more work than my actual work. And so what does that mean when you work a full work day or you have a full-time job, but then you're also feeling as if you're putting in a lot of work and a lot of effort to care for your family? Where is the work life balance? it may feel like there's a lot more work than life happening. And that is also something we don't want. Lastly, let's talk about the mental and emotional toll that the second shift can take. Parenting is lifelong. Yes, our kids become adults eventually, but we are always their parent. And when they are small, those days can feel long, they can feel hard, they can be daunting. And if you're lucky, they will come every single day. So, what does that mean for your mental and emotional health? It means that you might be at risk for some mental health challenges or some mental health obstacles if we're not doing the right things to make sure we're taking care of ourselves. I remind you that everything that I talk about in this workshop today comes from my brand new book, A Parent's Guide to Self-Regulation, a practical framework for breaking the cycles of dysregulation and mastering emotions for parents and children. I suspect that if you find the information in this workshop today helpful, you also will find the book very helpful. So go ahead, tap the link in my bio so that you can pre order your copy.